Today I'm going to take you through some easy nail art techniques, starting with foil application, and then I'm going to show you how to apply some metal decal studs, and then we're going to use some nail tip gel adhesive to apply some big charms, and then finally we're going to do some encapsulated dried flowers. So I've started by applying vintage rose. I've done 2 coats of this for the base for our foil application. Then I've taken some foil glue and I'm going to pop a nice thin layer of this all over the nail. And you're just going to cure this for 30 to 60 seconds, just depending on your lamp strength. Next I'm taking this beautiful floral foil, and as you can see it's got lots of gaps in it, so it's nice and easy to place on the nail. I'm just going to do almost like a French tip here. I'm going to place this down and then start rubbing it down with one of our silicone tools, and you'll start to see where it's applying to the nail and where it's still left on the foil, and you just want to keep going until all of it is on the nail. You'll see it release from the nail as well when it's all stuck on there. And then you just want to peel that off, and there you go, simple as that. And I'm just going to do a couple more pieces of this around the nail, almost like a frame. So again, just place it down, and then we're going to use the silicone tool and we're going to rub that into place and make sure it's fully adhered to the nail. So one thing to remember with foil glue is don't overlap any of your pieces, because the foil glue will have lost its stickiness. So if you need to do another layer of foil glue, go for it. It will just help a little bit. So once that's all on there, I'm just going to take some top coat and add a nice thin layer of this on the top of the nail just to protect it all and seal it all in. And we're just going to pop that back in the lamp for 30 to 60 seconds again. And that's foil application all done, nice and easy. For this nail I've started with sheer Elegance for the background, and again I've done 2 coats of that. Then I'm just taking this carousel with these beautiful metal nail decals, and we're taking these circular studs, and I'm just using some brush on glue and I'm just going to dab that wherever I want the studs to go. So I'm putting a tiny dot in the middle of the nail, taking our picker upper pen, picking up that stud and dropping it onto the glue. And it's so simple, and if you need to move anything, you do have a dotting tool on the other end of the picker upper pen that you can use to move them across. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing and just make almost like a grid with the little dots here. So pop down that glue and drop down your stud into that glue and just give it a few seconds to dry. And there's no curing involved with this nail glue. It is literally an air dry one. So just give it a little while before you go in with any other gel polishes. And I'm just going to do exactly the same thing on the other side of the nail. Once I've let that dry, I'm going to take some top coat and I'm just going to pop this on the nail, and the trick with going around 3D things is to kind of wipe the product back off. So you want to make sure it's fully covered and then just take off any excess so it doesn't pool around those 3D elements. So here you can see I'm just wiping that all back off where there's excess, and I've popped that in the lamp for 30 to 60 seconds and that's all done. I've started with a base of Forget-Me-Not for this nail and done a couple of coats of that, and I'm using these stunning charms, and they're almost like jewellery. They're absolutely gorgeous, and all we're going to do is we're going to take some nail tip gel adhesive, and this is great for these bigger charms because it holds them in place and it gives them something to sit into as well. So I'm just going to take a bit of that on a silicone tool and pop that on the nail. You can use some gel residue remover to stop it from sticking to the tools and everything as well, and place that on, make sure it's in the right place, and then we're going to take our silicone tool again dipped in that gel residue remover, and we're just going to wipe off any excess, and it comes off as easily as that. Just make sure you go back around the nail and make sure you get off any bits that you don't want on there. Once that's done, we're going to pop it in the lamp to cure for 30 to 60 seconds, and then we're taking some top coat and just going around the charm. We're not going to go over the top because it doesn't need sealing in, it's just the rest of the nail that does. And once that's on there, I'm going to pop it in the lamp for 30 to 60 seconds, and that's that nail finished. And for this nail, I've used Mint to Be for the background. Again, 2 coats of that curing in between. And then we're going to take these gorgeous dried flowers, and I'm going to be using some of the more leafy ones. And we're just going to take some brush on nail glue again, and I'm going to swipe this across the area that I'm going to pop the dried flower on. Take some tweezers and just drop it on there and just press it into the nail to make sure it sticks. You'll be able to see anywhere that hasn't stuck, and you can just add some more glue if it hasn't. And I'm just going to go around the nail and do more sections of this and add more flowers. And just be mindful when you're adding these flowers to try not to scratch them, be quite gentle with them because you will scratch through them because they're like paper thin. I'm going to add one of the leafy sections down here. So with this one being a little bit thicker and a little bit tougher, I am going to go back in and add a little bit more glue around the sides of the leaves just to get it to stick. And you can see just after a couple of seconds that glue does start to dry down and it will stick really quickly, as you can see here. You can also go back over the flowers with some of this glue if you're worried about them moving when you put your next layer on as well. Once that final flower's on, I'm just going to give it a little bit of time to dry, and then I'm going to be going in with a file, just a gentle file. We're not going in with anything too gritty, and I'm just going to go around the edge, and this will just break off any of the rest of those flowers that we don't want on there because they're hanging off the edge of the nail. Once that's done, I've dusted off all the excess dust. I'm taking some clear as day builder gel and just going over the whole entire nail, and all I'm doing here is encapsulating those flowers in so they're well protected from daily damage of anything you might be doing with your nails, washing up, doing DIY, any of that kind of stuff. Pop that in the lamp for 30 to 60 seconds, and then we're just going in with a nice even layer of top coat as well. And because you did a nice even layer of the builder gel, you don't need to file anything down because it's nice and smooth. Cure that for 30 to 60 seconds and that's that nail all done. I hope this video was helpful for any of you guys wanting to learn some new nail art techniques and those who are new to nail art as well. If you want more tips, tricks and tutorials, head on over to our YouTube. And don't forget, everything you'll need will be on our website. Bye guys!